This is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We're here on Xbox Series X, where the game has been given a very surprising update. Now, this isn't an optimization, but it's basically just as good as. So nothing's really been changed here in regards to like the look or the aesthetic of the game. But now we're getting a 60 FPS, which is a massive deal for Assassin's Creed. We've seen numerous other entries in the series get FPS boosts, we've seen improvements, we've seen all kinds of different things to this franchise. But there were a couple games that I think a lot of people were kind of sitting there thinking, well, they could do more. And I think Odyssey is definitely really high up on that list. Same with Origins. So basically we have a few different options at this point in time that, aren't actually FPS boosted or at 60 FPS. That's Origins and Syndicate now. Those are the only two that we're missing. Now that we've got Odyssey getting improved, and I thought we'd just kind of start with a little bit of the, sailing around, and then we'll go to land to kind of show this off here. And I think it's just really great that we've been given this option, and that they've actually went back and did this, because I didn't think they would take the time to do so. It's kind of unheard of, but here we go, we've finally got it. So what are we getting here? We're inheriting that 1x kind of option with resolution, where it's dynamic scaling, but basically native 4K most of the time. It should be close there, keeping in mind that now that we have the extra fluidity, that it might kind of scale a bit more than it would if it was at 30 FPS, but basically it looks gorgeous. This is a prime and great way to play this game. It really is just a high-end, awesome option for you to explore this interesting war that's been going on here. I don't know if I should assassinate this guy. I feel like this might cause, a lot of problems. Anyways, like I was saying, it's this neat sort of war that's going on. You're kind of, making your way through the middle of it. I should also mention there is HDR support for this one, and I guess also a factor is quick resume continues to be present despite the update, and I know that is something important for some people nowadays, so I thought I would throw that in there as a mention, as it's kind of cool. So you're forging your own kind of history. You get to pick the male or the female option. I do actually suggest maybe going with the female character. Apparently she's got a much better sort of style of the voice acting and everything like that. It's entirely up to you, of course, as well. It makes a small adjustment to the overall story, but really not a whole lot to it. So anyways, you pick your character, you go out in the world, and you just kind of, do your battle. This one is absolutely massive, too. It is huge, and it continues basically directly off of the style that was present with Assassin's Creed Origins. It should feel very similar. This is when they started going for that more RPG-light angle to it, right? This is when things became a lot more about collecting some armor, exploring around. Wow, I'm actually having a hard time here because the controls. Ugh. Yeah, he's actually tough. I'm running away because I don't really want to die. I'm trying to show things off. Anyways, it's got this neat element, and for me, it felt like there was almost too much to do in this. Some people have hundreds of hours in this game. And I myself kind of got to the point where it's there's all the serpent heads, and that just felt like there was, a lot of grind to that. But the game is insanely massive. We can look at the map here, and you can see that there's just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of things for you to do. Lots of water-based exploration. So you could spend a lot of time playing this one if you so choose. And a lot of people did. And then on top of that, there's extra DLC type things you can do, the whole Atlantis type of thing. It's really, really big. I know I said that a lot, but seriously, this is one chunky game that you can basically lose your life in. And I think it's very well done too, definitely on brand with the series, and a really neat look at this really gorgeous sort of architectural period of time. You basically get not a whole lot of cities, but the cities that are present are very well detailed. But a lot of the landscape is sprawling mountains, open hills, treed areas, outposts, a lot of sea land that you can kind of sail through. So your typical sailing type Assassin's Creed elements are present. There's mythological creatures, there's small side quests, lots of missions. Tons of things for you to do and take part in, which is quite exciting. And then of course you've got your horse here, which is a lot of fun, but me, I quite like the architecture. So this kind of has a really interesting, ancient Greece element to it. I'm just trying to think if I want to show off the guest house. I'm trying to think of like the most beautiful areas to kind of present here in the city, while also kind of doing my thing to show off the frame rate a bit of this as well. You choose your path, you're kind of in the middle of this war that's going on. And to a degree, you play as both sides. It's a clash of... It is Sparta versus Athens in regards to the clashes that are going on in this particular war of the era. And yeah, there we go. I just had to take a small dip there because apparently this is a big issue to get the combinations of names going on. Anyways, you get some beautiful landscapes, you make some choices, it slightly alters what's going on, and you're just kind of in the middle of this conflict, choosing your sides, going here or there, and then going out and exploring. And there's like a hunting element to it as well as you go out into the world and see what the land has to offer. It really is just like truly quite expansive, and I think a lot of fun to play. I think there's a lot going on here. Should we actually get off this and fight this wolf thing? And just like a range of enemies and challenges and endless things that you can take part in and have fun with. If you've played Valhalla, you should feel right at home with this one. If you're new to the Creed series, it's definitely a fine standalone option if you'd like to give it a whirl. I think it definitely offers quite a bit of things and content for you to engage in. If you're coming off of Origins, this is definitely a neat sequel that expands the scope of some things and does some neat stuff as well. So yeah, let's continue along here, because I'm trying to like not necessarily fight guys. See, look at Drunk, that's what it said his name was. And then there's lots of like cinematic moments and quests and places to go and people to see. Like, this is just like a super small chunk of the overall world that you can visit. Like, it's just a small part of it. But I'm trying to show off a little bit of, the sailing, a little bit of the city, stuff like that to give you an idea of the different, areas that you can visit along the way in this world. So it's a fictional history of real-world type events, the Peloponnesian War, hope I said that right. As mentioned prior, Athens and Sparta taking place in this battle. You're finding yourself in this conflict, and it's got some modern-day type things as well. I think this was very well received among most people, and definitely something that, like I said, people spend like way too much time in. Almost it's quite amazing how much time some people say they play in this game, like hundreds of hours, which is cool. I mean, if you love it, this basically feels endless, right? You could just keep going and going and going, and that's totally cool. And then there's like these large-scale battles where 150 v 150 soldiers can go and clash against one another. It's got some gripping story pieces, historical figures, and now having it run at 60 FPS is fantastic. It is a significant upgrade to the experience. It seems to be running all smoothly, and I do quite appreciate that, just being able to, have that quality here. I think that's quite nice. Are these guys enemies? Oh no. But you know what I mean, there's like a lot you can do in this, and there's a lot to see is the biggest thing. I'm sorry, horse. Horse, no! He looks glitched, that's not good. And it is, kind of a little bit more action-packed, but at the same time, it's a Creed title, right? You do your climbing, you do your fighting, you do your stealth, assassinations, or you can go in and attack people straight up. They give you many tools and weapons and options for how you combat others, and the things you do in the game, which I think is kind of cool. It's just, like, quite a lot of fun to play, and I remember just, like, sitting here just, like, kicking guys down this thing, which is pretty funny. Because this is on, like, other buildings, too. But yeah, I think it's just kind of a neat game that you can spend basically unlimited time playing forever. And, it's got like a neat selection of different like armor things you can get, different quests. You can see the inventory system here where you get like different weapons and cosmetic type things and different options and tools and armor. And, there's a lot going on in this one, and you can improve yourself in many ways, and I have not been equipping better armor for some reason. I feel like I'm a bit of a crazy person for not doing so, almost. It's like because I was going for like a certain style, or did I just get lazy? I guess this armor might have also randomly appeared during time when I was gone or something like that. I have no idea. different like Phobos skins and stuff here. Classic horse. Oh wow, it's that classic Creed armor that looks so nice. Is it really a -11? Because it feels pretty smooth. Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty nice. Got the hood on there. That's definitely some other stuff, and I got an achievement for changing too. Plus 63 damage. Holy, I've been missing out on some better stuff. I got some fashion achievements too. It looks like I've been gone for a while and they gave you some stuff. And there's different abilities. You got like a whole skill tree you work through. They've got your ship that you can customize with different lieutenants and individuals that give you benefits and perks. You know, things like that. Oh, you could have Eevee in that and Bayek? I didn't know they added that. As you can tell, you know, I've obviously not been keeping track of everything, which is kind of cool. So there's a lot you can kind of do in this one, a lot of fun, and it kind of leans back on the history of the Creed series, while also doing some new things. And then there's the whole cult system and the mercenary system as well. And this continues to go on very far. It's kind of like a nemesis system, if you were familiar with the other one, the Shadow of War, Lord of the Rings type thing, Middle Earth. And then there's the cultist tree you could fight, and it's like a big thing in there as well. And like I said, you could just keep playing and playing and playing, which is quite exciting. You gain XP, and you know, it's an RPG game that encourages you to just sit here and play forever. I mean, if you've never played Odyssey, this is probably the best time to give it a whirl now that you actually have this, you know, great smooth frame rate. I think this is a fantastic way for people to get into it, because I imagine this is a game that's still, you know, kind of encouraging people to try it out for the first time, right? I bet it's still selling well. I bet it's still something, you know, unique, and I think it offers a lot. I had a lot of fun playing it, working through it, and reviewing it, and spending time in it. Obviously, not to the extent of, you know, the high tier players that like play a lot of this, but you know, I've put in my time to it as well. You know, I've definitely spent time enjoying this one and taking in the world, and I quite love the world too. I think it's, you know, kind of nice. It's a little open at times and a little more sea driven than I would necessarily like. I'm more of a land-based Creed player. I'm not necessarily as big into the oceanic element as some of the people I know are. I think it gives both players a lot, but you kind of look at this and it's like got this like neat color palette and this expansive, you know, kind of design to it with like big mountains and everything like that. So you can, you know, you could spend a lot of time playing this, which I think is quite cool. And I mean, I keep saying that, but you know what I mean? There's lots of places you could just kind of explore in the game outside of just you know, kind of doing your regular tours to go in and, whoa, your regular tours to go and just fight, you know, the missions you actually need to do, the story content you need to do. There's actually like a lot in the world out there to see. Why aren't you moving away? We've got to run. I guess that would have been helpful a second ago. But yeah, I just remember kind of sitting here on these things, and like when people would climb, I would just like kick them down. It was kind of funny. Ugh. But yeah, it's just that Creed style, and I hope the combat's showing off a little bit of the, you know, the fluidity and stuff. It feels really, really good. Like 30 FPS is such a slow thing to deal with gameplay-wise these days. I mean, we're kind of spoiled now with the next-gen stuff, and like I said, I really never ever expected them to actually upgrade this game. So that is such a treat that this has happened. And like I said, I hope this isn't the end of it. You know, because I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, I would love Origins to get a like a frame rate boost, like an FPS boost, or even an update, which would be really, really cool. Like getting the games natively just popped up at 60 FPS would be fantastic. You know, outside of the great work that Xbox has been doing, and Xbox has been doing with the FPS boost system, I think having like actual native upgrades would be fantastic as well. Because they've basically proved with FPS boost that these games can deliver. And it would also be neat to have older ones given that touch-up, you know, without having to have a new remastered release. But I imagine there is, like, more money in them doing that. But I just think the potential for longevity is a lot better if they are able to, you know, kind of support these games like this. I think that would be fantastic. Because obviously this doesn't need a remaster, right? Like, this game is clean, it's smooth, it looks great, it plays very well, feels responsive. And I think they could hopefully do this with Origins, and Syndicate too would be quite nice. I mean, Syndicate could use, I think, a little bit of a resolution increase on that one, but Origins would be just, like, really perfect with 60 FPS. Like, this one is really, really good. Like, it feels just fantastic. It was probably a quick thing for them to do, but a highly appreciated thing. Like, this is definitely the way to kind of experience what this has to offer. Oh, run away. Yeah, there's a lot of enemies I'm dealing with here, which is not good. It looks like they're trying to kill me. And then you get all these different abilities and stuff, and like I feel like I'm almost like touching the surface too in regards to the overall game. There's way too much to this. It's actually impressive how big of a world they were able to like scale up and create in such a period of time. It really is, and then the fact that they keep just like pumping out these big worlds every so often is kind of like really amazing. You gotta give them props for that. You know, it's just like wild. Like, you get this whole Greek world, and then, you know, you've got this whole world that's for the Vikings, and, you know, you got Egypt was before this, where they really refined things in the series. I always thought that was neat. Just how they keep you, you know, sort of guessing and enjoying new things, like different locations. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, you never quite know what you're gonna get in the Creed series. Every time they do something, it's like some kind of magical fantasy place. The Lucky Drunk? Uh-oh. This is not good. That's why you usually want to go from a stealth perspective. Oh, jeez. Don't worry, we'll be fine. Just gotta keep being Creedish. Hopefully they don't hit me with an arrow or something like that. Phobos, where are you? Actually, I don't want the torch right now. I want the, Sorry, oh, we also got the eagle out. Oh, crap. There we go. But a lot of tools in your tool set. A lot of weapons, and I think they did a good job with the controls and everything like that, and kind of making it so that there was like a range of, can I jump and assassinate these guys? You know, a range of tools at your disposal. With those RPG elements, it seems like they just like piled on different things that you could do and different ways that you could tackle challenges and fight others. I mean, like, there's also like so much, like so many missions you can do in this. It's, the narrative is kind of neat, and you know, there's some surprises and different twists and whatnot, and it's just kind of a neat perspective in this war being, you know, kind of thrown into the middle of it and choosing your side to a degree. I think it was a little bit more almost free in choice than a lot of the Creed titles are, right? Like, a lot of them are more linear, and you're kind of just experiencing it to a degree, as opposed to actively, you know, making a big mark in it, which is fine. Like, you know, that's this Creed style. But this one was kind of like, you get a little bit of choice and fun there too, right? You're not just be held to the certain standards that you would be used to. Trying to like get some of these guys to like kick them off the cliff and whatnot, but you know, it's just kind of not working. Oh, there we go. This could be it. Yeah, there we go. That's how I killed a lot of guys. I would just like kick them off cliffs. And that would be the best way to dispose of my foes, would be like, haha, bet you didn't expect that coming. I always thought that was very humorous, but yeah, this is a great update. I mean, I love this. Ubisoft, please take a look at more of your games. You know, definitely let them know as well that you like and appreciate this as well. Because I hope that we maybe see other titles get something like this other Creed titles, and that is Assassin's Creed Odyssey on Series X, playing smooth, looking fantastic, and definitely quite an appreciated update and upgrade to this game.